Good morning, buenos dias. One of the questions people ask a lot is about training. How do they train for the Camino? And my answer to this really is it just depends on you. Are you a person who gets out and walks 2 or 3 days a week? If so, you probably don't need any training at all. You can train on the Camino. Are you a person who sits in your lounge chair all day and watches TV? Then you probably need to get out and walk 2 or 3 days a week. Um, In Spain, you'll be thinking in kilometers, not miles. And 1 kilometer is a little over half a mile. It's 0.621371 miles. So, for instance, the first stage, which is 25 kilometers, is 15 miles. To me, that's too long for a first day. And again, I suggest people break that up into 2 days. But the fact is, if you can walk 5 miles, stop and rest, 5 miles, stop and rest, and do another 5 miles, you'll be okay. Bear in mind that you're going to be going like this the whole way. So it's more like 30 miles to me, and I wouldn't ever again attempt to do it in one day. But the rest of the routes are usually 20 to 23 to 25 kilometers until you get further on, or in the meseta where it's very flat. And so if you just start out slow, take short stages, and then increase your distance every day, you can actually train on the Camino with no problem. And if you can walk 5 miles, take a rest, and walk 5 miles again, you're probably going to be fine. There are 3 places that I consider difficult on the Camino. The rest of the Camino is either flat or it's just little rolling hills. And those 3 places are the very first day, going from Saint Jean Pied de Port to Orison, and then over the mountain of the Pyrenees to Roncesvalles. The second one is going to Alto del Perdón when you leave Pamplona. Some people find that a difficult climb, although I don't think it's that bad if you go slow and steady. And there are places along the way to stop and rest. And then the third is going up to O Sobrero. And that one is another one I suggest you take in 2 stages if you're not in great shape. But other than that, the rest of it is pretty much just rolling hills. The track is really good. You do not need boots unless you have very weak ankles. I wear New Balance trail runners, and I like them because they have a very wide and a very deep toe box, and then they're tighter around the heel, so those work really well for me. But you need a lightweight shoe that dries quickly, and that has a deep, wide toe box. You need to be able to wiggle those toes even when your feet are swollen. And your feet are going to swell because people aren't used to walking from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Your feet are going to swell, and so that's another reason I suggest you get shoes that are one size larger than you normally wear. But as far as training, you know, if you go out and walk 2 or 3 times a week and you can walk 5 miles without a problem, then I think you're going to be fine. Don't worry too much about it. It isn't a mountain climbing expedition. It's a slow, steady trek. And so don't worry so much about it. Worry more about getting the right shoes and about keeping your pack light. And I'll do a whole other video on those 2 things. Okay, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Buen camino.